Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.
Hare Krishna. Mohan Gauranga Prabhu, are you there? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Through Prabhu, we can start. They are ready.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome all of you to our 125th appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. We are celebrating Srila Prabhupada's appearance day today and Nandotsava. So on this occasion, we have a Kirtan that we are starting with. And we have Mohan Gauranga Prabhu and his team who's going to lead Kirtan. I can see Anadi Lakshmi Priya Mataji also there, ready to sing. Is the team ready, Mataji? Can we start?
Yes, Prabhu. We can start.
Hare Krishna. So we have a big schedule today. Without further ado, please start the Kirtan and we can move on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti
Hare Krishna. Thank you, team. This was a very, very wonderful start for the initiation of this great event. And we would like to move on with this Kirtan, which is a glorification for Srila Prabhupada. We have a video for every one of us to see and appreciate Srila Prabhupada. So I'll quickly play a video before we move on to more events. Hare Krishna.
A 70-year-old devotee of Krishna went to America in a cargo ship in 1965, and after an enormous struggle, he established an institution with a handful of young Americans. With them, he started this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Within the short span of 11 years, Srila Prabhupada not only spread this movement practically through all the countries of the world, but he established 108 temples in all the major cities of the world. And this is how we can see that in order to fulfill his prediction, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reserved the credit to one of his most intimate devotee, and that is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Krishna consciousness movement is not for the wretched, unfortunate class of men. No. It is meant for the most fortunate man. Anyone who has taken to Krishna consciousness is to be considered as the most fortunate man, because he has got the line of action, how his life will be perfect. Therefore, anyone who is in Krishna consciousness and discharging the duties nicely, he is the most fortunate.
Jai, Hare Krishna. I don't think there are words that can really suffice to glorify Srila Prabhupada, and seeing this video, I think, is just a short glimpse. Just like he has unlimited qualities, as you would have seen in the video. I think if the video keeps on going, it will keep showing more and more qualities of Prabhupada. But this is why we are here today. To start with, I would like to request His Grace Solochana Prabhu to start with the glorification of Srila Prabhupada, and we will get to hear more about His Divine Grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving us this wonderful opportunity. Actually, we are not qualified to talk about Srila Prabhupada, but somehow, as he said in his own words, anyone who comes to Krishna consciousness is very fortunate. And so I see myself as such one of the fortunate souls on this planet currently. So before I do that, I would like to glorify my own spiritual master, by whose mercy I got connected to Srila Prabhupada's family. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Krishnapad Maharaj. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Tinamine. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Sri Tatmani Sri Gora Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirti Tinamine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gora Vani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastatya Deshatarine. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyana Gyana Salakaya. Chakshulo Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So, like I said earlier, I'm not qualified to talk about Srila Prabhupada, but then, by his own mercy, he has connected us to this movement. And so we'd like to share a few of the experiences we've had since we got in contact with Krishna consciousness. In fact, yesterday, during the Sri Krishna Jamastami, I was given an opportunity to speak, and I did mention that most of us do not really understand who Srila Prabhupada is. So today, I would like to talk about some practical things that I have experienced and with other devotees since we came in contact with Krishna consciousness, to establish the fact that Srila Prabhupada is not an ordinary person. So this little talk I want to do, I've entitled it, Who Else Could Have Done It Except Srila Prabhupada? Yeah, imagine a 70-year-old man. In my own country, Ghana, the retirement age is 60. So Prabhupada was above retirement, 10 years more over, when he has to retire and then be at home and take care of grandchildren. But that was the time Prabhupada got himself actively involved in spreading Krishna consciousness. So we all know the story, how he got to America by a cargo ship, and then for one whole year he struggled to establish this movement. At a point, he has to sleep in the ghetto with hippies. His life was threatened. So many things happened, but Prabhupada didn't give up. Why? Because he wanted to carry out the orders of his own spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And so he pursued, and with determination and the mercy of Krishna, he was able to establish the Krishna consciousness movement, which has spread like a wildfire throughout the whole planet. And those of us who didn't meet his presence, physical presence, are fortunate to have got connected. Now, when I had opportunity to go to Fiji, in fact, I had opportunity to travel, but I chose to go to Fiji because after studying a little bit about Fiji, I saw that it was a small country, but they had about 6 huge temples. And so I was thinking, if I go to any other place, actually I had a contract to go to Kuwait, but then I was thinking, Kuwait is an Islamic nation, and therefore if I go there, my Krishna consciousness will be disturbed. So having compared Fiji and Kuwait, I decided to go to Fiji. But the unfortunate thing is that I was not able to establish proper communication with the Fijian devotees. But I made a call through. One Mataji picked. We spoke for some few minutes and the line dropped and I couldn't connect back again. But I was so determined to go. So I made my papers and then I went through. I got to their airport, Nadi International Airport. And so when I got through the immigration, I was asked if I had invitation. I said, well, I have any formal invitation, but I did speak to the authorities there. And so they called the temple, and the person who picked the phone said actually he's not aware any devotee from Ghana was coming to Fiji. Then I heard from the background somebody saying, yes, a devotee called from Ghana, so they should allow him to come. So immediately the immigration officer was caught between the two. So finally they allowed me to go in, but I was given 6 days entry. So imagine I traveled for 4 days to get there and given 6 days to stay in Fiji. But I was not worried. I felt that once I go out and get to the temple, things will change. So I got to the temple, and then the news spread that a devotee from Ghana has come. And so many devotees came in, and then they sympathized with me, hearing my predicament with immigration. And so the next morning, I was given opportunity to lead Manga Arati, which I did. And then after the Manga Arati, all the devotees were like, wow, how can somebody from Africa understand this process and practice it so nicely like this? So one senior devotee walked up to me and then said, asked that he heard I have a problem with immigration, with my visa. And I said, yes. It's okay, I should not worry. He's going home and come. So 8 o'clock he will come. We go to the immigration to extend my visa. So 5 minutes to 8, he was around. He picked me in his car and we went to the immigration office. We made inquiry. So they asked us to first of all go and extend the ticket to the date which we are requesting, which we did. And all these expenses were done by him. And then, so I had the opportunity to stay in Fiji for some time. Then finally, when my time was up, I had to leave because per the immigration laws, if you are in the country, you cannot apply for a resident permit. So the temple president assured me that he would take care of that. And so they got the forms and I filled them and left. So later on, when I have gone, it was submitted and then I was called to come back. So they paid all my travel expenses and everything. In fact, they spent about 10,000 Fijian dollars, which is roughly 5,000 US dollars. So I asked myself, if not for Srila Prabhupada, how could I get such a mercy? People that I have no connection with. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, this could be done. Because the kind of respect and reception I was given in Fiji, I asked myself, if not for Srila Prabhupada, where on earth could I have gotten such a mercy? And then one thing I also experienced, I think the second time I was going to Fiji, I came back to Ghana for holidays and I was going back. And I got to the airport after going through immigration. I went to the baggage collection point and my bag was not found. So I lost everything. The only thing I had on me was my dress that I was wearing at the moment and a few books which I had in my hand luggage. But I was not worried because when I cast my mind back, when I reached Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, I realized that at a point his laptop, his typewriter and his detecting machine, which he was using to do his translations of the Srimad Bhagavatam, was stolen. At that point, I asked myself, how could Krishna allow this to happen to Srila Prabhupada? Because this typewriter and detecting machine are the only property he has, and he's not even using for himself, but for Krishna. So how would Krishna allow these things to be stolen? When Prabhupada came, he was not worried. But Prabhupada understood that that place was not meant for him. He has to leave. And that was where he left and went to stay in downtown among the hippies. That is where Krishna consciousness actually started. And so I took counsel from that if it could happen to Prabhupada, why not me? But I wasn't worried. But the good thing is that before I got to the temple in Suba, I had more things than what I lost. Because the devotee who came to pick me from the airport, when I mentioned to him, we went to the airline office, that was Korea Air, to lodge a complaint. So they took our address that they will contact Dubai. and if they found the luggage, they will bring them to the temple for us. So the news spread, and so everywhere we go to, we go in, and then they said they heard I lost my bag. I said yes. So they go in and come and dhotis, coates, what have you. And so in short, at the end of the day, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I got more things than what I lost. Then coming to Ghana, this is a life experience, something that really happened to assure us that Prabhupada is not dead. Prabhupada is still alive, and he's actually on this our planet, and he's working. There was this lady who came to our temple, is now a devotee. He had no idea of Krishna consciousness at all. In fact, she lives in a very far place in the western part of Ghana. She has not heard anything about Krishna consciousness. So she came to share this experience with us. She has lost the father, lost the mother. She was married, and as soon as she got pregnant, the husband left her, and unfortunately, she had ectopic. She was rushed to the hospital. She has nobody to take care of her. And so during that time, Srila Prabhupada came to her aid. She had no idea who Prabhupada was. But she was told by the nurse that an old man came in here and claimed to be the grandfather. And so he has settled all her bills. So she doesn't need to pay anything. Her bills have been taken care of by the grandfather. So she was wondering, who is this my grandfather? So they gave a description of Srila Prabhupada to him, the man who came to settle the bills. And so she was discharged, and then she left. Prabhupada left a note with address on this small pamphlet on chanting Hare Krishna, and instructed that he has 6 houses in Accra, in Ghana. So she should go and stay in any of those houses. But after she was discharged, in fact, she forgot about the whole thing. She didn't even consider what she was told. So she went to live somewhere alone, and then she fainted. So in the midst of her fainting, she heard a car come to her aid, and an old man comes there, and then took her to the hospital back. And then when she regained consciousness, the old man told her that, don't be my granddaughter, you are being stubborn. I asked you to go and live in one of my houses in Ghana. I gave you the address. Actually, Prabhupada mentioned the name of the temple president, which was in the caretaker of our preaching center in Takrade, Gogopa Prabhu. His name was written on the leaflet, including the address. So Prabhupada told her that if you recover from this and you don't go, then you don't expect to receive my mercy again. So this time around, when she was she came back from this illness, she followed the address and went to our preaching center in Takrade. So she explained to the person in charge, His Grace Gogopa Prabhu. So when Gogopa Prabhu heard this story, he was blown off. So he felt he could not handle this. So he told her that this is just a small preaching center. So our headquarters is in Accra. So you should go to Accra Temple. So he gave the address. So the lady, according to her, has not even visited Accra in her life. So she missed her way and went to one Hindu temple in Ghana, in Accra. And so when she told their story, they said, no, this is Hare Krishna. So they gave that direction to her to come to the Hare Krishna temple. So in short, she came to the Hare Krishna temple early morning around 1:30 a.m. Ghana time. And then when she knocked the temple commander came to open, and after telling her story, he said, okay, you wait. So the next morning, we introduced you to the temple president. He said, I want to see my grandfather. So he said, you go and sleep. So for following day, when you will see your grandfather. So in the next morning, when she came for Manga Arati and saw Prabhupada sitting on the Vyasa, she had no idea that Prabhupada has passed away, and left the planet. So she went to Prabhupada and said, grandfather, I'm here. So he was speaking directly to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada didn't respond. So he was like, is he not hearing me? So the devotees noticed and then told her you leave Prabhupada alone and attend the program, but in course of time, she will understand everything. So in short, finally, she came to understand that Prabhupada was not even on the planet for so many years. So she was wondering, how did Prabhupada got to know me to the point that he came to save my life and physically paid for my medical bills? And because of that, she became a very serious devotee. And through that, she went to one city in Ghana, Kumasi. We have a temple there. And so while she was there, he had an advertisement about some white men who were looking for a cook. So she took interest in that and went, and many people came around, and everybody was asked to prepare something. She prepared a vegetarian diet and offered them. And then when the employers tasted all the food, they picked her to be their cook. So actually in 2018 or 2017, they were traveling to US and said they could not leave their cook behind, so they went with her. So as I speak, Bhaktin Hannah is in the US by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. In fact, the day she was leaving, she was weeping, tears of joy. How she had nobody, practically nobody in life. She has no idea about Krishna consciousness. But we see how merciful Srila Prabhupada is. It is said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful than Krishna, even though he's one person, but in his form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful. But we can say that Srila Prabhupada is most merciful because looking at what he has done, like I said, the title of my delivery is, who else could have done this except Prabhupada? That people like us have now been accepted as Vaishnavas. And wherever we go in the world, we receive all the respect and all the recognition. It's only by his mercy. So, and then one last thing, one lady also was visiting our temple for some time. And so one time she shared this wonderful testimony about Srila Prabhupada. He said every time he comes to the temple, he sees this old man sitting in the same position. And she gets worried because sitting on a lotus posture is not so comfortable. So she used to ask herself, why this old man is able to sit like this all these hours that we do this program, and he never stretches his arms or legs or whatever. Doesn't he get tired? So at one time, she just saw Prabhupada stretch his arms and stretch his legs and then fold them back and sat quietly again. So she was amazed. And so by the time she noticed, she told some of us about what she saw, and we said, we were amazed. Yes, that's Prabhupada for you. And so when she got to know that it was the Muti, not the physical Prabhupada, she was shocked. She said, but this is what I saw. I saw him because whilst I was contemplating, is he not tired? Because even those of us who are going up and down, we get tired. And he's sitting there, the same posture, without shaking his body. So Prabhupada demonstrated to her that I am not just a Muti. I'm still Srila Prabhupada. So he stretched his arms and then his legs and then fold them back. So this is Srila Prabhupada. So like he said during the short video we watched, that anyone who comes to Krishna consciousness must see himself or herself as very, very fortunate. Because this movement is not meant for wretched people and misfortunate people. No. Except one is fortunate, one cannot come into Krishna consciousness. But the good thing is that the mercy of Srila Prabhupada has no bounds. He does not discriminate the color of one's skin, one's social background, one's family lineage, or whatever. His arms are always open for anyone who will come, and he will receive you and treat you as you deserve. So, in concluding, in fact, for a whole year, we cannot finish talking about the good things that Prabhupada has done for us. Even this my trip to Dubai here, in fact, the kind of reception I've received, the treatment and honor I'm given, it's all by His mercy. Otherwise, what relationship do we have as a Black African and then Indian bodies? Because most of the devotees here, if not all, are Indian bodies. But you receive me and treat me as one of your own with respect and dignity. It's all by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So this is how merciful Srila Prabhupada is. So I want to encourage all devotees, if you don't have this book, Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, or that other one, Prabhupada, the Messenger of God. In fact, you should get one of that book and be reading. When you see the struggle he went through, 70-year-old man, to establish this movement, spending sleepless nights to translate the Vedic scriptures for our understanding. In fact, the Matajis in this movement should be very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, because before his time, Matajis were not allowed to stay in the temple. Like I said, he is even more magnanimous than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the sense that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not allow even his female devotees to come close. When they want to offer obeisance, they have to offer obeisance far away, many meters, hundreds of meters away from him. But Prabhupada made it possible for any woman who wants to live in the ashram to live in the ashram, to the point that even now he is initiating women as Brahmins, and some women are even getting the opportunity to even become gurus, all by his mercy. In fact, if not for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, most of us, especially myself, I don't think I would be alive today. And even if I were still to be alive, I will not be a person that anyone will allow to come close to him or her. But Srila Prabhupada, by his mercy, has refound us and made us to become civilized human beings, to the point that we can understand the Vedic scriptures and to share the little that we know with others, to also help them, connect them to Srila Prabhupada, and bring them to this wonderful house that Srila Prabhupada has built, that the whole world, regardless of one's race, one's language, one's social background, we are all comfortably living in this wonderful house as brothers and sisters. So I would like to thank the devotees for giving us this opportunity to share this little that we know about Srila Prabhupada. I'm very, very grateful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
for glorifying Srila Prabhupada and giving us so many of his pastimes and sharing the mercy. Thank you so much for that. Now we will have Abhishek going on, and please come by Chiranjeevi Sham Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Nivartante
So we have Chiranjeeva Sham Prabhu leading Kirtan with Pundrik Prabhu and with Mayuri Mataji. Hare Krishna. Along with the Abhishek, as you can all see.
Hare Krishna, can you hear us? Can you just give me a thumbs up on the chat if you can hear us?
Yeah, very clear.
A thumbs up. Hare Krishna. Okay. Gana Just want to check if we should continue Kirtan or how are we going to. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Mute.
you for the wonderful Kirtan. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful Kirtan, Chiranjeeva Sham Prabhu and team. We are now going to move on to our glorifications that we have been doing. And moving on for our glorifications, we have His Grace Jagan Prabhu, who would first be glorifying Srila Prabhupada. Jagan Prabhu, are you here?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm here.
Please, Prabhu. Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
do I have the screen sharing option? Can you give me the screen sharing option? I'll meanwhile. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. It's very nice that we are all celebrating Srila Prabhupada's 125th appearance day. I made a few slides. I actually compiled few slides just to give a perspective to what I'm going to speak. I hope you're all seeing my screen now. Dhruv Prabhu, can you confirm that my screen is visible?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see your screen.
Hare Krishna. So whenever, nowadays when we talk about Mayapur or whenever we think about Mayapur, these were the few pictures, these kind of few pictures which come to us, right? This is the present. The top one is the present picture and the bottom one is a picture in motion. Every day it's transforming into a great temple of Vedic. Planetarium is coming up. Previously it is Srila Prabhupada, Pushpa Samadhi and the other temples around that. Is what we think about Mayapur, right? And it has taken 55 plus years for this to manifest by the mercy of our acharyas and the great efforts of the disciples and all the devotees of disciples of Srila Prabhupada and so many devotees of ISKCON. So this is the current and the future that we saw. Actually, I go back to past now. This is a picture was taken when Srila Prabhupada went to America and came back and went to America and successfully established ISKCON. And when he came back to India, he had a very, very grand welcome. What does it mean? That means people in India and in the world also, the people who are connected to ISKCON have actually acknowledged the efforts of Srila Prabhupada, and ISKCON is seen as an emerging and a very successful organization, society in the world. So this itself is one of the very graphic images. So Indians have welcomed Srila Prabhupada as their great spiritual ambassador who came to West and conquered them and has spread Krishna consciousness like wildfire there. And then past those activities after Srila Prabhupada came along with these basically disciples, they also met so many well-known personalities, including then the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and they have given her the Back to Godhead magazines and things like that and explained to her how Srila Prabhupada went to West, carried the message of Krishna, and he came back. So the first two images which I showed about Mayapur, that's the image that we get on the current and the future. And these are some of the past images which tell that by the time Srila Prabhupada came back from America, ISKCON was already an emerging successful organization. However, and when Srila Prabhupada came to Calcutta, this is in Tollygunge, I think, he already started giving very, very big programs. So that means people in India also started recognizing what he has achieved in the Western countries. So this was his story. I'm talking about late 60s or early 70s, that kind of a time frame. However, when Srila Prabhupada, with all that success that he has achieved in Western countries, and with a single point of determination to establish something in Mayapur, he started his life in Mayapur land like this. So you can contrast the image of what I have shown you in the first slide to the image that about 50 years back, how and where Srila Prabhupada has lived in Mayapur. So this is the hut, and it is not the hut in which Srila Prabhupada alone lived. It is the hut in one room Srila Prabhupada lived, that was his room, and in the other room the devotees were sharing. So in the hut, 2 rooms, one devotees for devotees and one for Srila Prabhupada. You can imagine. And I believe in those days there were a lot of mosquitoes. So this picture and the narration that I'm going to show comes from a very nice article by Srutakirti Prabhu. So I just wanted to glorify Srila Prabhupada like this. So he took so much of pains for all of us to see so many wonderful temples and wonderful congregations throughout the world, and of course in particular to see the development of Mayapur, to lay the spiritual and enthusiasm related foundations to Mayapur so that we can see what it is today. So Srutakirti Prabhu writes like this: one morning he rang his bell very early. I walked into his room slowly, still half asleep. He looked at me with a touch of anger and said, "Some mosquito last night was cutting my forehead. He created so much disturbance. He made it difficult for me to do my translating work." Srila Prabhupada did not say that he made it difficult for me to sleep. He said that mosquito is biting him and that is disturbing in his translating work, that too in the very early hours of the day, in the morning. And Srutakirti Prabhu further continues, it was incredible. No matter what was going on, Srila Prabhupada always related it to his service to Krishna. It was never about bodily inconvenience. He only complained about something if it interfered with his service. And this mood of Srila Prabhupada with a very strong mission for which he was working signifies. It just one paragraph, these 2 paragraphs very clearly and profoundly tell us what Srila Prabhupada is and what ISKCON for him means and what ISKCON stands for us now, and how we should take it forward. Of course, all I ever saw was Srila Prabhupada serving his Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada in his state of bliss. The two went on simultaneously. So this article, I like this article, and almost on every Vyasa Puja day of Srila Prabhupada, I read this article again to myself. So I'm doing this since last 4 years. So today, when Jayagant Prabhu said that please glorify about Srila Prabhupada, suddenly again I remembered this article and opened up my file and read this. So this image of this hut always there in my mind whenever I think and remember the sacrifices that Srila Prabhupada has made and his full pointed attention on his mission to build ISKCON, to build a great center in Mayapur is there. In that small hut we can see how Srila Prabhupada has worked so much, and the result of which you see. Recently ISKCON Communications has published a very nice slide which shows the progress of ISKCON in the last 55 years. Is it all? Is it done? No, there's a lot more to be done, but this itself is a very good statistically explainable evidence of Srila Prabhupada's power and potency. The mercy, in the beginning of the program, we saw that very beautiful video where that every line of that, as the pictures moved, mercy, 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 because of his mercy we got this, because of mercy we got this, because of mercy we got that. So this is again another manifestation of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's gift that he has given us, and we are so very, very fortunate that we are in the society that he has built in Krishna consciousness. And also we also have a lot of responsibility when we look at these statistics, right? And for all those devotees who are going to live and see 150th appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, they should be seeing these numbers getting doubled up or tripled up. Just the way these numbers started with a very humble beginning, got doubled up and tripled up. So we all need to work towards that. And it can only happen when we all are steady in our devotional service, always remembering Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission, and working in a very, very cooperative manner, putting ISKCON first and putting our own self-interest very top down in the bottom. That way, that's the best gift that we can give to Srila Prabhupada in moving forward in a progressive and a very collaborative manner, so that we can ensure that ISKCON is on and never gone, as long as we remember Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Again, once again, big thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to remember Srila Prabhupada in front of all of you, to glorify him for my own purification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. And now I'll call upon His Grace Srila Prabhu to also speak on Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, are you there? Chiranjeevasham Prabhu or Shivala Prabhu, are you here? If not, we can call upon His Grace Subhashini Mataji. Subhashini Mataji, are you here? We can hear from you on some of the glories. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this opportunity to glorify Srila Prabhupada on his appearance day. So basically, I wanted to talk about two major points on Srila Prabhupada's contribution to the humanity at large. So the first point that really inspired me always about Srila Prabhupada is his positioning. How Srila Prabhupada could have lived in Vrindavan. He was already a wonderful Bhagavata, Uttama Bhakta, that could have perfected his life and gone back home, back to Godhead. But he was so merciful, and so he wanted to push that this message of the Acharyas, the Gaudiya Parampara, and the message of the Lord has to go all over the world, because of which he moved out of Vrindavan and into the Western world. And in spite of so many hindrances that came his way, whether it was in the Jaladuta or after he going into Boston and living with the hippies in their area, his typewriter getting lost. Before that, even his own god brothers wasn't very supportive. In so many ways, Srila Prabhupada really faced a lot of difficulty in actually making what looks like an amazing organization today in this world was created because of Prabhupada's selfless and self-motivated and undaunted nature that Prabhupada had. So this is one of the mode of Srila Prabhupada, which is very inspiring. So he wanted to shower the mercy of the Lord to the entire world. So he took the Lord all the way from Vrindavan and went to the most happening part of the world, and from there he showered it all over the world. So it shows clearly how he was self-motivated at every time. Even if when we pick up something to do, we see 2 or 3 failures, we stop. We feel, I can't move ahead, I can't do this. But we see Srila Prabhupada again and again pushing himself, being self-motivated and fearless and unconcerned and undeterred. He went on and he provided us this beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam. Today, if we do not have Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we may not be able to understand many topics that are there, like Puranjana story, Puranjana Katha in Srimad Bhagavatam. If not for Srila Prabhupada's purports, we can't understand what's going on there. So like that, Srila Prabhupada has contributed as wonderful scriptures. He has given so many lectures with his music and building temples and establishing Varnashrama farm community. So in every way, Srila Prabhupada has beautifully given us a a set platter by which we just have to, it is given in hand, like how Vyasadeva gave us in his maturity, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a fruit with no seed, taken and made into pulp and fed to us. Exactly like that, Srila Prabhupada in his maturity created this beautiful ISKCON as an organization which could give us that perfect routine for a person. And this is where I want to talk about the second point, which inspires me about Srila Prabhupada and what he has contributed to humanity at large, is he's given purpose to our lives. When we go out there and look at people, when they come here and listen to Srila Prabhupada's books, what we all speak today, every word is from Srila Prabhupada's books. So when they hear it, they are amazed. Every single shloka, when we explain it to them, they are amazed. We are able to speak any single word that comes out of our mouth is purely because of Srila Prabhupada's offering as scriptures. Apart from this, how he has given us beautifully what we need to focus on is so perfect. From waking up in the morning, the beautiful routine that he has given us as Mangalarti, and then chanting, and then Darshanarti, and then listening to Bhagavatam lecture, and then go back home, and then every meal has to be offered to the Lord and as bhoga, and prasad only has to be consumed, and then again evening Sandhya Arti, and then it's again we can sit together and talk about Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, another class. So it's when someone does this regularly, it puts that person on a perfect focus, and there is no question about whether the person would go back home, back to Godhead or not. This is more like pushing a businessman being so focused in his business, vichintyani vicharyani vicheyani punah punah, yeah, constantly thinking about just this one point, that how do I progress in my business. Prabhupada has given us the purpose and the focus with which we can focus on how to go back home, back to Godhead. So to end, I just want to chant this one last verse. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam srimadattatam bhuvi grinanti he bhuridajanaha. Translation is nectar of your words. So the gopis are beautifully saying that the descriptions of the Lord are the life and soul of the suffering people in this material world. But how do we get it? The Lord is there in Goloka. He appears here. Most of us don't understand the pastimes of the Lord. How do we get these narrations? From the sages, from our parampara, from the acharyas in our parampara. It is only through these amazing acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. So they call him, people like Srila Prabhupada, munificent. Right? Bhuridajana. They are so giving that they don't even think of their position. What would happen to me? I'm moving out of Vrindavan to take this to the world outside. Will I be successful? Will people actually learn it? Will people really make use of it? Prabhupada didn't think any of this. He was just Bhuridajana. He wanted to give it because of the purity that he had in his heart. Prabhupada could establish this message of Krishna to the entire world. So his mercy, his self-motivation, his fearlessness in carrying and spreading the message of the Lord, and his contribution by which he has given us purpose and focus, these are all a huge contribution to humanity at large. And I'm sincerely very grateful and thankful to Srila Prabhupada on this day. And I thank Damodar Desh Yatra for giving me an opportunity to glorify Srila Prabhupada on this auspicious day. Hare Krishna, Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for this glorious pastimes. And we have His Grace Srila Prabhu, who will be speaking next. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Over to you, Prabhu.
Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Am I audible? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna to all of you. This offering is in the style of an offering that I've written in glorification of Srila Prabhupada. And before I start, I would like to again say that even if some of you have missed writing it today, do not worry about it. Take your time, but do it within the week. If you can do it, do your recording. It will be good that we all do it and show our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace and your wonderful movement ISKCON. This shloka rightly depicts your mood and what you have done for all of us. Janasya Krishnat Vimukasya Devat Adharmashilasya Sudukkitasya Anugrahayeha Charanti Noonam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. Oh my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:5-3. I repeat the translation. Oh my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Bhurida Janaha. Great unalloyed devotees of the Lord, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. Great unalloyed devotees of the Lord are compassionate towards the fallen, and therefore they travel all over the world with the mission of bringing souls back to Godhead, back to home. Such pure devotees of the Lord carry the message of Godhead in order to deliver the fallen souls, and therefore the common man who is bewildered by influence of the external energy of the Lord should avail himself of their association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If it were not for you, now this is my writing here, if it were not for you to spread this message or Lord Chaitanya all over the world, it is not just the fallen souls outside of India, but even myself, the so-called Brahmanas of South India, who have definitely got to serve the Shastras, Guru, Lord Chaitanya and Krishna because of you. To give Krishna consciousness in a perfect way to a wide cultural audience in innovative ways, working with those 1/3 of your age from various parts of the world, transforming them into devotees and Bhagavatas who could dedicate their lives to you, to the movement and everything is not possible for anyone except you, your divine grace, as Shakti Avesh Avatar of Krishna. We thank you, dear Srila Prabhupada, on this 125th appearance day of yours, for giving us Lord Krishna, for giving us Lord Chaitanya, for giving us your wonderful temples and beautiful deities, which are Netrotsava or Nityotsava, a festival for the eyes, festival day in, day out. Srimad Bhagavatam commentaries, the Bhaktivedanta purports, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, Yatharup, your wonderful disciples, Srila Prabhupada, who kept your mission and vision aloft and furthering the movement. Your innovative preaching techniques, Kirtans, Tulsi worship, wonderful Rath-yatras, opened a wide range of avenues for prasadam distribution and involved people from all walks of life, all castes, all creed, and all religion. United Nations of the spiritual world, as you say. We shall dedicate ourselves to your service. Please give us your blessing and strength of devotion so that we, till our last breath, will serve the Lord, following your example and your final lesson, Srila Prabhupada. I am fortunate to have the guidance of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, the other GBCs of the region, so many more Siksha Gurus from the stalwart disciples of yours, and a great camaraderie of devotees together with whom we are trying to serve you. Your servant, and beg to remain eternally under your shelter and the shelter of ISKCON, Sri Vallabhdas. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for that wonderful offering and inspiring us all to also do an offering soon for Prabhupada. If not today, by tomorrow, by day after, we should all do an offering. This is a very special year, as Prabhu mentioned. Thank you so much for that, Prabhu. Next, I would like to call upon His Grace Nandakumar Prabhu, if he is here. Nandakumar Prabhu, would you like to also come on? Looks like he's not here. We can call upon His Grace Swarup Damodar Prabhu. Swarup Damodar Prabhu, would you please come on and take over for this glorification? Hare Krishna.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, my dear devotees. A very heartfelt congratulations to all of you on this most auspicious tithi of 125th anniversary, appearance anniversary of our beloved founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. I would like to especially express my personal gratitude to the Supreme Lord for keeping me alive on this very, very historic day, in the present times where the physical health has been challenged in so many drastic ways. It's definitely special mercy to be alive on these very wonderful days, because unfortunately we have lost so many dear souls who could have been with us to celebrate Srila Prabhupada's 125th appearance. I would like to touch upon a very special aspect of Srila Prabhupada's divine grace, which is Srila Prabhupada's touch. Many of us who have been involved in book distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, I'm sure many of you have had this experience, senior book distributors telling us, go out and distribute books, but even if they are not ready to buy it, let them at least touch the books. What will happen if they touch? Because these books are non-different from Srila Prabhupada. And whoever Prabhupada has touched, whether directly or indirectly, his life has completely changed forever. I was extremely fortunate to be in the personal association of Srila Prabhupada in the year 1977. I was very young at that time, but I do faintly remember having the darshan of his divine grace. My entire family was there in Srila Prabhupada's presence, and we all, from our deepest hearts, from our cores, owe this, and we can express this, that lava matra, sadhu sant, completely changed our entire lives, our entire family. When I was in the United States for about almost 9 to 10 years, I once happened to be in a library, and I found the most priceless treasure. It was this, Srila Prabhupada's 1962 Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Part 1. If you all have read Sri Lilamrit, you must be remembering that Prabhupada took a whole case of many of these transcendental books. And I saw this, and I immediately requested them to give it to us for some price. And then ever since, this book has been with us. Prabhupada has been always with us in so many ways, but this was one of the ways. So talking about Prabhupada's touch, I would like to share a wonderful pastime. This has been narrated by one of Prabhupada's very senior disciples. The year is 1976, December, Allahabad, which is the time of the Kumbh Mela. Prabhupada is sitting in the tent, ISKCON tent, and relaxing. And it is the day of Ekadashi, so Prabhupada is talking about Ekadashi. And then Prabhupada mentions that on Ekadashi, it is very nice to have lotus pods, makhana that we say. Lotus pods fried in ghee, Prabhupada said. This is very good in Ekadashi. So as soon as the devotees would hear something from Prabhupada, they would immediately try to make arrangements for Prabhupada's lunch. So one devotee ran to the market to get the lotus pods. And just then, a Ramanandi Brahmin arrived in the tent along with his 9-year-old son. Now this Ramanandi Brahmin was a well-wisher friend who devotees had met in Firozabad in Uttar Pradesh. In Uttar Pradesh, Prabhupada had once visited and had stayed in one Gaudiya Vaishnav's house, a Bengali Brahmin's house. And this Ramanandi Brahmin used to be the priest of that Bengali Brahmin. So in that way, he associated with Prabhupada and he became very attached to Prabhupada. So he wanted to see Prabhupada in the Kumbh Mela. So as soon as he and his son arrives in the tent, they bring a cloth bag and they put it in front of Prabhupada. Prabhupada opens it and he smiles and he sees lotus pods fried in ghee, and he just takes a full handful and eats them. And then Prabhupada says, see, I just mentioned and how Krishna has provided. And then he has a talk with him in Hindi. He says, Aap Sangam mein aaye hain. Allahabad is the Triveni Sangam. So as he is answering, he removes one plate and he removes, a pot of water. And he says, Ha, Prabhupada, I have come for the Sangam. And as soon as he places the plate near Prabhupada's feet, Prabhupada smiles and puts his lotus feet on the plate. And then he starts bathing. And as he's bathing, his 9-year-old son in both are chanting mantras. And after he's finished the mantra, he says, Prabhupada, Asli Sangam to yahan hai. This is the real Sangam. What will I go and do there in that Sangam? Where your lotus feet are being bathed. Because your lotus feet can even purify Mother Ganga. You are not going to Ganga, so I thought I will bring Mother Ganga to you. And in this way, I will purify my life, will purify my son's life. And Prabhupada starts laughing. Then Prabhupada looks at his son and says, give me your son. So he smiles and he says, yes, Prabhupada, he's yours. So he says, no, I mean it, give me your son. I'll make him an acharya. So then he says, Prabhupada, he's yours, but he's right now very young. And I'm training him in grammar. He has to defeat Shankara Bhashya. So I want him to go to Benares and learn. Prabhupada says, no need of Sanskrit, no need of grammar and all. I will make him an acharya. Just give it to him. Give him to me. He again says, Prabhupada, he will be too much trouble for you. But when he grows up, I will surely give. So Prabhupada laughs and says, Theek hai. And then Prabhupada, with his loving, compassionate hand, rubs the head of that 9-year-old boy. And then this meeting is over. He leaves, he goes. And then it is described that many years later, about almost 10, 15 years later, again in Allahabad, the devotees have put their tent and they come to know that there is a huge tent of the Ramanandis also. So then the devotees, they remember that meeting and says, maybe somebody in their sampradaya would be remembering us, so they go. And then they come to know that the Ramanandis have appointed a very young person as the leader of the whole sampradaya. And the reason why he was appointed was because it was this sannyasi, this young sannyasi, who was able to bring all the other sects which had separated from the Ramanandis, and he had united them, all of them. So then our Gurukuli boys and some of the devotees, they go to the Pandal, and as soon as they visit there, they start chanting, the sannyas mantras, because there is a sannyasi sitting on a high seat. So this sannyasi, this young sannyasi who's being worshipped by so many senior, elderly, 3 times of his age, elderly people are fanning him and they're worshipping him. When he sees them, he folds his hands and he calls them near him. And after they finish the sannyas mantra, this young sannyasi on the spot composes some Sanskrit prayers in glorification of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the meaning of these prayers is that I would not be offending my own founder, Ramananda Swami, if I say that there cannot be any other Acharya greater than one of the Hare Krishna movement. And why did he say that? Because his own founder, Ramananda Swami, he had also mentioned in his commentaries that there will be Vishnu worship preached all over the world. And you will find people from all over the world taking to this worship. So then the devotees who had actually gone with them, he recognizes and says he's the same person. And he, with folded hands, with so much love and gratitude, says that, do you remember me? I am that 9-year-old boy whose head was rubbed by our beloved Srila Prabhupada. Of course, all of our hearts are pouring out. But when we hear these glorifications from those who are not directly part of Prabhupada's family, our worship, our reverence, our love, our gratitude, our dedication to Srila Prabhupada multiplies so much more. There are so many beautiful pastimes. I would quickly like to end with one amazing episode that I was narrating Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, his audiobook. As Jagan Prabhu was mentioning how hard Srila Prabhupada, so many troubles. My Guru Maharaj was mentioning in his offering today that he shed buckets and buckets of blood to save us from falling down into fire. This particular episode will definitely bring out this aspect of Prabhupada's unlimited compassion. This is way before Prabhupada had any success of any kind. And yet he was still a pharmaceutical salesman, and he was going and he was traveling on business, but at the same time he was writing, because that was the order of his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he had written the entire commentary, 1200 pages of the Bhagavad Gita with his own loving hands. In those days, there were no gadgets like we have today. We have so many gadgets, speech to text. You just start talking and it can convert it to text. There was nothing. Prabhupada had nothing. With hand, he had written 1200 pages of the Bhagavad Gita. And then he was approaching one of his co-salesmen. His name was Muthuswami Chetty from Chennai. He was very impressed with Prabhupada's writings, and he said, this is wonderful. So Prabhupada asked him, do you know anybody who can sponsor this and help me? So he said, I know the Birla of South India. His name is Alagappa. He's like the Birla of South India. I know him, and I'll approach him. So he does that, and then Alagappa also, he likes the idea. He says, okay, you bring the manuscripts and I'll get it written. And Prabhupada is delighted that all my manuscripts are going to get, now there's a book going to come out. The first book, I had the strong desire to bring out Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada, he's in the middle of his traveling, he goes back, and then to his greatest dismay, he realizes that his handwritten manuscripts are gone. They have been stolen. Somebody in his own family, one of the servants or one of the sons or some, Prabhupada writes that he never came to know, but he was suspecting that someone in his own family did that. Now, how many of us would have the heart to again venture if something with so many months and months of hard work, handwritten notes, are lost? Prabhupada did not give up. He again wrote the entire Gita. So now when I every time I touch the Bhagavad Gita, I remember this, that how much pains our beloved Srila Prabhupada has gone through to give us Krishna consciousness through his books. So on this day, let us all pour out our hearts in loving gratitude to our beloved founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, for giving us, for saving us, giving us the ultimate gift, for saving us from the most wretched fall down. With these words, thank you very much for giving us this chance.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu. And now we have actually the Bhoga Arti, which will be sung by Srila Prabhu, Chiranjeevi Sham Prabhu, and Prantika Prabhu. And we have 607. We can see the Bhoga Arti, the Bhoga being offered. Hare Krishna.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala हर चरितो वेद गाय हर चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आधमा जनरा
पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने
भगवानी प्रचारिणे
विशेष
Shri Advaita
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Chiranjeev Sharam Prabhu, for leading that Kirtan and Bhoga Arti. Now we quickly will move back to some offerings. We have Vrajajananandana Prabhu ready to speak a few words. Please come on, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. I've written an offering to Srila Prabhupada, and I would like to read this for the pleasure of Prabhupada and for the devotees assembled here. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. On this auspicious occasion of your appearance day, there is no repository of words that we can thank you enough for the help pathway that has brought in life and direction to this insignificant soul that contemplated suicide as a young person, frustrated in life on account of money, career, fair weather friends. The aim to become a businessman at 21, some 23 years back in the year 1998. If it was not for Sri Radha Rasbihari Temple, Juhu, that existed, with your sincere prayers requesting their lordships to please stay so that you could build a nice temple, whilst the fight with Mr. Nair ensued and victory was evident with such a magnificent temple that was finally built. Your cherished prayer transformed for the pleasure of Sri Radha Rasbihari. I would not have any place to go and spend the 31st night of 1998. My prayer was to spend 31st night with their lordships, Sri Radha Rasbihari Temple. I had no money, just bare enough to reach Andheri station from Ghatkopar and then walk to Juhu from Andheri. Little did I know that the temple closes and there is no midnight party there. Out of my foolishness, I had thought midnight parties of 31st night also happens there. But your mercy was to take shape, oh dear Srila Prabhupada. Realize that after a year that it does happen, but not in Juhu in those years, but outside of Juhu, outside of India. Srila Prabhupada, you're so kind and compassionate to this useless person that my insignificant prayer to spend midnight party with your favorite temple, Sri Radha Rasbihari, was to be revealed in the course of next year, not in Mumbai, but in Dubai, at Panika Prabhu's house in the year 1999. That's the year 1999, that by your kindness and the merciful Lord Sri Radha Rasbihari fulfilled my insignificant prayer to spend time with you, the lordships and the wonderful devotees led by a young leader, His Grace Srila Prabhu. Little did I know the prayer spending midnight party with Lord Krishna meant that I must spend time with your devotees. The lordships are not alone there. There's always devotees, and your glories became more prominent in my life, and also the teachings. Because of you, Srila Prabhupada, I have a new family that breathe and speak your teachings from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Such nice friends that do not lower you, but encourage you, support you, and are not fair with your friends at all. Such fine etiquettes and culture and action that are really fulfilling because it sprouts from the training received to render devotional service bhakti with such satisfaction and direction. Such a fine process that builds up one's character with great responsibility. Such great welfare activity that touches the heart of the needy and provides the real nourishment to the soul. Such immense priceless wealth that I never fathomed in my life, all because you thought of all of us and built such fine temples all around the world that has revolutionized the life of so many who were tired, frustrated, lost in this material world with no hope and direction. It's 125 years anniversary of your birth appearance, dear Srila Prabhupada. And by accepting me as your grandchildren through your spiritual son, Srila Bhakti Begum Govinda Swami, and the help of my brother, Jai, who brought me to this movement, and Srila Prabhu, our fine Yatra leader, and the many friends, Vaishnava friends and well-wishers of the movement, we pray again for your mercy so that myself and wife can use this life, a second chance received in 1999 in your service, and help many such deserving souls. souls, your servant in your service, Prajjana Nandadas. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And now we have Nand Kishore Prabhu, who would also speak a few words. Prabhu, are you here?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mukkam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatvam maham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone on the very auspicious occasion of the 125th Vyas Puja festival of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I will not read my Vyas Puja offering here. Rather, I would like to speak it in a along with some memories of Srila Prabhupada which I heard today, highlighting two of the unlimited divine qualities of Srila Prabhupada. So the first is, as I was sitting down to pen the Vyas Puja offering, I just felt that everything, practically everyone of us on the call here can agree to this, that everything what we have in our life is today because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. By this, I mean, like from the time we wake up in the morning, how to get out of the bed, how to bathe, what to do next, how even to go to our office and work, how to deal with our family, how to deal with people who are not dealing well with us. And so many things we have only learned because of Srila Prabhupada. So practically, if I would just say in one line, everything that is there in my life, I can say, and all will agree that it's because of Srila Prabhupada, because he has taught us how to live in this world and how to live after leaving this world. Secondly, a very startling fact of Srila Prabhupada, which I would like to mention, is that many people in the material world offer us many things which claim to make us happy. But Srila Prabhupada has given us Krishna, the holy name of Krishna, the teachings of Krishna, the topics about Lord Krishna, which can keep us stable in any condition in this world. And what better is than the time now to understand this, where roughly from close to 2 years, the material world is going through a very topsy-turvy situation. And if we just look down, deep down in our hearts, we can see that somehow we have even just managed to go through this. It's because of Srila Prabhupada, because of the teachings, because of the holy name, and because of the transcendental process of Bhakti Yoga that he's given to all of us. So this is what I wanted to mention, that what Srila Prabhupada has given to us is for our eternal benefit, and that which can keep us stable, not only stable, even blissful, despite any adverse situation in life, whatever come may. We may lose our material wealth, we may lose our material health, we may lose our material relationships, we may lose, eventually we will for sure, but even during the course of life, whatever material we lose, we can stay stable, we can stay focused, and we can stay blissful, and that is because of Srila Prabhupada. Another important thing which I was penning down was, yes, Srila Prabhupada was very compassionate, very grave. Bhakti Vedanta knew the purpose of scriptures in and out. But along with that, a very important element was he was very personal and he was very sensitive to the feelings of others. When I look at myself, I feel that I miss this quality big time. One can perform all the lists of devotional service, but to be sensitive to the feelings of others is something which is not very easy. Oftentimes, I may get a WhatsApp, I may not even reply it for a week. But Srila Prabhupada took pains to reply to every single letter that was written to him, which is much difficult than replying to a WhatsApp. So really, he's very sensitive to people, along with speaking heavy, along with saying the message as it is, along with being grave. but yet at the same time he is very personal and very sensitive, thinking for the real benefit of one and all. Just recently, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu gave a workshop which Srila Prabhu had kindly arranged, and he was mentioning in that we often speak with one another, we ask one another, how are you and how are things? But he said, if we look, we sometimes happen to do it very superficially. We don't really mean from the heart to ask anyone. It's just become like, things which come on our mouth. And he said the same thing can happen with chanting. It can just come without any feeling. And why I'm saying this here is when today I heard two memories which I would like to share by disciples of Srila Prabhupada, that everything he said, it was not superficial. He was actually concerned and actually very sensitive to the way he dealt with people. First is, I was hearing by His Grace Radhesham Prabhu uh, that once Srila Prabhupada was in ISKCON Vrindavan, and he told his disciple, listen, I'm going to rest. So make sure nobody comes to meet me now, and especially this person will be coming to wanting to meet me. So anybody you refuse, but especially this person, surely you shouldn't. You should make sure he doesn't reach me. And as time went by, the same person came that day to see Srila Prabhupada during the few hours when he was resting. And his disciple said, you can't meet Srila Prabhupada. I have strict instruction that he's gone for rest and he doesn't want to see anybody. So this person was very senior and he said, listen, you're just a new boy with Srila Prabhupada. You're not following your etiquette. I'm just going to barge in his room and nobody can stop me. And he went straight in the room, and Srila Prabhupada was just getting up from his rest phase at that time. And he woke up and this person complained. He said, your disciples don't have etiquette of how to deal with me. And he's not letting him in. And Srila Prabhupada called his disciple and he said, why you didn't let him in? He's so senior. And so Prabhu was saying there that Srila Prabhupada himself told that this person be stopped to come and meet him. But he didn't want in front of that person, he did what was right, because he wanted to feel that person was important. And yes, what he was saying is right, that yes, my disciples don't have the etiquette. And Srila Prabhupada told him in a little heavy way that listen, you need to know how to deal with seniors. And then he spoke very nicely with this gentleman who had come to meet him. So he was very, very sensitive. He's Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of a worldwide movement, and he could have said, listen, I'm resting and I've already instructed my disciple, and please, you may come tomorrow or you may come later. But what Prabhu was saying was, at that moment, what was apt, he did, very sensitive to this person. Another pastime of Srila Prabhupada which was mentioned was, in the early days, many devotees joined Srila Prabhupada. And those days, initially, Srila Prabhupada had not even mentioned about the rules, which many of us would have heard, that after his first initiation, he put a poster next day saying what the 4 rules were. So initially, the devotees would come, slacken a bit, and it was pretty normal at that time. So once what happened, Srila Prabhupada was in his room, and one devotee was not coming in, and there was some service Srila Prabhupada wanted to discuss. So he was standing out, and the other devotees were saying, look, Prabhupada is calling you, come in, come in. And he's saying, no, actually, today morning, I just fell prey to my bad habit and I've smoked a few cigarettes. So I cannot come in. And this talk and this kind of discussion was going on with the devotees outside Srila Prabhupada's room. So then Srila Prabhupada asked the devotee in the room, look, what's going on outside? So he said, Prabhupada, you're calling for this devotee to come in. And he's saying, and before he's completing, he said, tell him that I know what he has done, but it's okay. Just for now, come in and join this meeting. So again, there it was being explained that he knew initially people would not keep up. It was normal. There'll be little up, there'll be little down, but he didn't give up on anybody. He was that way very sensitive again and very personal again. He didn't give up. Like, not that, okay, you're in Maya, don't come and meet me. And even when somebody left, once His Holiness Tamal Krishna Swami Maharaj said that a devotee left and came, and this happened a couple of times. And then so His Holiness Tamal Krishna Swami Maharaj went and asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the limit of times we have to forgive and we need to take back? So Srila Prabhupada told him there is no limit to the forgiveness of Vaishnava displays. So this was again recorded by His Holiness Tamal Krishna Swami Maharaj. The last 10 seconds, I would just take to say another thing, which one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples said in his memory. He said that in those days it was not easy to meet Srila Prabhupada. His senior most disciples would be around him. And we would often just see Srila Prabhupada come and go out of the temple in the car. And so once he was leaving for the airport, and as usual, we knew we would not be allowed to go too close to him. So we were standing outside the temple door. And Srila Prabhupada, as he left for the airport in his car, he pulled down the window, and we were 3 devotees, he said, 3 godbrothers, and Srila Prabhupada waved and smiled at each one of us. And then these 3 devotees said that it's been nearly 30 years from this incident. And till today, just this incident, that the way Srila Prabhupada looked at us, waved at us, so thank you. Thank you, Dhruv Prabhu, and thank you, Srila Prabhu, for this opportunity to say a few words on this very auspicious occasion. My humble obeisances to everyone. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. We're now having Yashoda Maya and Nand Maharaj here with us. You can all welcome Yashoda Maya and Nand Maharaj and celebrate Nandotsava with them. Hare Krishna. Let's hear from them.
Yashoda Lal ki आए जय हो पशुपाल की गौए चराने आए जय हो पशुपाल की कोटि ब्रह्मांड के अधिपति लाल की गौए चराने आए जय हो पशुपाल की पूनम के चंद जैसी शोभा है बाल की पूनम के चंद जैसी शोभा है बाल की हे आनंद उमंग भयो जय हो नंदलाल की हे आनंद उमंग भयो जय हो नंदलाल की कोटि ब्रह्मांड के अधिपति लाल की हे गौए चराने आए जय हो पशुपाल की भक्तों के आनंद कंद जय यशोदा लाल की हे भक्तों के आनंद कंद जय यशोदा लाल की
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. We've had a very, very beautiful program, celebrating Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, celebrating Nandotsava with Yashoda Maya and Nand Maharaj. I think we couldn't ask for more. With all of these glorifications of Srila Prabhupada, we should learn and take back, and how we can give back to Srila Prabhupada and this movement. So thank you all for sticking around and participating in this event. Looking forward for more such events. Hare Krishna.